Hi, my name is Rodney. I'm the new head women's tennis coach at Georgia Tech, but this week I'm here as one of the tennis directors for the Camp Ace here in Mahwah, New Jersey.
Terrific. Hey, thanks for a couple of minutes, Rodney. Doing a little perspectives on 10 and under tennis, and just wondering from you, being in the tennis world for so long, what you feel is going on with 10 and under, your perspective on it.
I really like the 10 and under format. I like the fact that kids are able to play with age-appropriate equipment. I like the low compression balls. I like the fact that the court is smaller. And I think it's a tremendous way to introduce tennis to children. And I've had a lot of success using the equipment and the format and a lot of the drills and concepts with a number of the kids that I've worked with. I like it a lot. I think it's very, very effective.
Okay. And for your experience, when you grew up really without the 10 and under format, or lower compression balls, different type balls, this hasn't been new around the globe, but it's been a little bit new introduced into the United States. What's your feeling for when your experience when you learned traditionally? Maybe you could speak to that. Was that always positive? Was there some challenges?
I think there's definitely some challenges because the ball bounces too high and too fast. And so when you first start, there's an issue with the height or the bounce of the ball. The other issue obviously is the size and length of the racket. Many players have to play with two hands on both sides because they're just not strong enough to hit with one hand. With the 10 and under format, you have it so that the ball stays primarily in the kid's strike zone because the ball's going to bounce a lot lower and the racket's a lot lighter and more able for them to manipulate the racket around. So you'll see more one-handed backhands, you'll see more variety on the court. You'll see more topspin, some slice. You'll see them coming to net earlier because the ball stays in front of them a lot more. So I think it's a lot better. I think it would have helped me a lot growing up. I would probably have developed a one-handed backhand, especially if I knew I was going to be this size.
Exactly.
Instead of playing with two hands, but I started when I was young and I just wasn't strong enough. I probably would have started with one hand because I was an attacker as well.
Sure.
I think it would have helped me a lot.
Awesome. And if you had
thank you. I was looking
with
for
kids today, I'm not sure if you have your own kids, if they're how young they are, but would you immediately introduce them that way, being that you learned a little differently, or would you just get them right to regular balls, even if they're athletic and they say are a little bit more adept? Would you still consider progression format or transition format?
I have twin daughters that are 8. They just turned 8.
Oh, okay.
And so I started with the red ball.
Nice.
And then we went on to the orange ball. And then our
Awesome.
next move was to move them on to the green dot ball.
Sure.
But I found for them, they have a lot more success. They're able to rally back and forth, so it's a lot more enjoyable for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to do a lot of drills and also hit with other kids. And they're able to sustain rallies for a longer time. And that's what they see on television. So it allows them to play closer to what it looks like on television versus basically just hitting and running and chasing the ball.
Awesome. And lastly, where do you think this will play out, maybe for American tennis, say 10 years from now, with a lot of these kids, say that, a lot of 10 and under, obviously when they get into the late teens or into the prime years, that next 10 years, do you think, American tennis is going to be that much more competitive or a lot better players, do you think, possibly?
I know we'll have more players. My only issue is we've got to find those very, very talented players that start with the 10 under format, how to keep them in the sport. And I think that's really our challenge. Our system is, because of the size of our country, it's very cost prohibitive in a lot of cases for kids to keep playing tennis, because you have to have private lessons, you have to have group lessons, you have to travel, you have to do all these variety of things, and so many times you lose the most talented kids away from our sport to other sports that are less cost effective. So I think what we have to find is ways to keep kids involved that are very talented, because what has happened now is in a lot of sports, the most talented athletes in that country play tennis, because tennis is either the number 2 or number 3 sport in that country. Like in Spain, tennis is number 2 right behind soccer. Argentina, it's number 2 right behind soccer, so you're getting the second best athlete every time. Whereas in our country, we're way down with getting and keeping the talented athletes in, and it comes down to talent, physical ability, obviously eye-hand coordination, but it comes down to physical ability, eye-hand coordination, speed, strength. If you look at the players now, that's what separates one group from the next. And so we have to just figure out a better way to do that.
Well, I appreciate it, and thanks so much for
No problem. Thank you. Yeah, my kids use it.